think it's hit a point where nearly everybody knows the name Pirate Software, especially as of the past month or two. If you didn't already know, he worked at Blizzard for 7 full years, and he also worked at Blizzard for 7 years. But he and his team, called Pirate Software, made a game they are still supposedly working on to this day, and that game is none other than Heartbound. Now, this game has been talked about most notably by Coding Jesus, talking about the game's abysmal code, along with some other creators talking about how awful the game actually is. Steam reviews, however, show up until a little while ago, it was receiving pretty decent reviews overall, till the controversy spiked. So hi, I'm Pindar, and today I regrettably woke up and asked, is Heartbound actually that bad? Or is it just people hating on Pirate Software? We'll be going over the gameplay, general mechanics, story, art, the works, while trying to ignore the overall controversy involving Jason, and I'll be explaining the aspects that I thought were good, bad, or maybe realize that this was just a waste of $10, with my overall review at the end. Of course, this is just my opinion, it's okay to disagree with me, and with that, let's talk whether or not Heartbound actually deserves all the hate. I'm gonna go ahead and get this out of the way, because in a game that is actively promoting the unique combat, there is a singular combat encounter. I mean technically two, but it's just the same fight but longer. Now, I'll say, the fight was interesting. I'm not against it really. Like, is it great? I wouldn't say so, but it's interesting. If it was fleshed out a little bit more, and there was more of them, I think it could probably work. It's a cool concept, honestly. And while the fight itself was kind of a drag the second time around, it was still neat. The problem obviously comes into the fact that, as I said, this is it. The Steam page even says that every enemy you encounter has unique minigames that you will not see anywhere else in the game. There are no random battles, and the number of encounters are avoidable based on how you progress. But there's only one enemy. I like RPGs. I have not hidden this fact. I do not plan to hide this fact. And one aspect that I enjoy in RPGs is combat. And I'd genuinely love to see more combat in this game. More situations where we actually get to choose our encounters based on whether or not we like how a certain character or enemy fights. But currently, and for the past 8 years, there's only been one real enemy with the same fight twice, and it's completely unavoidable to my knowledge. It really annoyed me because even though this is the only example of combat that we have for this game, it's not bad. And the fact that it's barely even utilized despite just being a selling point on the Steam page, it's disappointing. It's simply disappointing. And for puzzles, there's like 3, maybe 4, I guess. It depends what you count as a puzzle. I can't really say a whole lot about this because there's just not a whole lot to talk about. To put it simply, this game is just a visual novel poorly disguising itself as a puzzle-solving, combat-oriented RPG. Not lore as in the game story, but lore as in the main character of the game, and Baron, his dog. See, Baron is Lore's best friend, and oh, he's dead. Literally, it hasn't even been 10 minutes. Okay. The whole plot involves us finding him with some useless attempts at pulling at emotion since he means so much to us. Yeah, okay. I have a problem with this dog. I have a personal problem with this dog, and it's the fact that he's barely a relevant character, and yet we're supposed to have some immense connection with him. Let me give you just a really quick rundown of how much bonding we got with this dog, okay? You wake up in the middle of the night. Baron wants food. We go ahead, we get up. Dad says take the trash out. We go downstairs. We feed Baron. We take out the trash. We go back to bed. That's it. That is it. According to my footage, I spent a good maybe 5 minutes with this dog. I do not care about Baron. The game simply has not given me any reason or time to care about Baron. And yet that is the whole entire plot. The whole plot is that he's Lore's best friend and we gotta save him or something, but whatever. I don't care. And honestly, that leads to the next problem, and that's Lore himself. I think Lore sucks. He's the biggest crybaby I've ever seen. I genuinely don't even want to talk about him that much, so I'm not going to. Like, he's probably not even that bad, but I just genuinely despise character types like this. Not even refusal of the call type character trope, just when they're a massive bitch. Lore's just genuinely boring for the most part, and honestly, if he stopped talking, I think this game would have been significantly better. Most of his dialogue is just him complaining or arguing or just being boring. So there's only 2 main areas in the game outside of the starting location, one of which is Animus, also known as Furcon 2018. Furcon 2018 is a magical land full of anthropomorphic animals, which you kind of just wake up in. This place is, interesting, I guess? Let me make it clear now that the pixel art for this game is actually pretty well done. Each area is incredibly stylized, and I like that. The sound design isn't terrible either. I wasn't absolutely jamming to it, but it wasn't unpleasant to listen to. My problem with this area, though, is that it's boring. As I mentioned not too long ago, there's only technically 2 fights in this game, with both happening within the first 30 so minutes, all of which happens before you reach Animus. So there's none of that in Animus, and most of this area is just talking talking to some animals, which Lore has a problem with for some reason, even though literally the dog he loves so much did the same. I don't know. It's mostly just walking around, and in itself, that isn't a terrible thing, but in a game that has its unique combat shown on the literal Steam page, the game also often blocks off areas by making them simply not exist beforehand either, so exploration felt kind of pointless. Most of this area felt pointless. Why are we fixing some random pocket watch? Literally this entire spot is just fixing some pocket watch, and whatever this is. I do not know what is going on, or I suppose I don't really understand why it's going on. Aren't we supposed to be saving Baron or something? Like, I get it could be for world building outside of the main plot, you know, such as Amori. There's plenty of side stuff you can do in that game that has nothing to do with the main goal, like the player trying to decipher whatever this is. But me comparing Amori to Heartbound in itself is a crime. It all just feels kind of monotonous. The main quest of Animus is straight up just a glorified fetch quest revolving around go talk to person A, and then they tell you to go walk over, talk to person B, and then the game's over. If this entire pocket watch fetch quest was something optional, I would be okay with it, but it's not. It's the main quest that you have to do, and it's boring. It wouldn't even be that bad either if the characters themselves were actually interesting, but spoiler alert, they're not. Oh, they're all trying to be deep and have advanced sadness or whatever, but they're not. They're simply not. You talk to them a little bit, you get what I'm assuming is it's a joke or something. They fulfill their short-lived purpose, and ta-da, that's it. On top of the fact that they're just seemingly forgotten once they're done with the 5 minutes of fame, along with that, despite what the game is attempting to do to make these characters interesting with backgrounds that we're supposed to care about, they just don't have that much personality. They're about as interesting as a smooth rock with parental issues. The game simply does not know what the word pacing means, because it all happens too fast for us, the players, to genuinely care about any of these characters. Which is further shown by something I've yet to even mention, and that's that this game is really short. Like, I saw several negative reviews on this game that only had 30 minutes or at most maybe 4 to 5 hours of gameplay, and plenty of them were saying that there's practically nothing to this game. And they were right. This game took me less than 3 hours to beat every location. So if for some reason you thought I was exaggerating on there simply not being enough time for us to care about any of these characters, really, I am not. Now, this doesn't really get better when we take a look at the other location that this game has to offer, the tower. The only upside is that we have no characters that are trying to act like they matter here, so I guess that's a plus. I suppose we have Joe, but he works more as a guide for the player than anything, and Oscar too, but he's literally there just to force the player to go do the quest. The quest being oh my god, it's a fetch quest again. Listen, I'll throw the game a bone, okay? I get why the tower has a really boring quest, because it's supposed to be life working in an office, but honestly, I don't think I need to tell you that, because you have eyes. However, this doesn't change the fact that if I wanted to experience an boring office job, I'd go get an office job, and at least I'd make money for it, instead of being bored by my own choosing with this. And while I would love to have changed the game and go play something more enjoyable, I wasted $10 on this game. I'm getting my money's worth. At least there isn't some weird sappy nonsense though that I'm supposed to care about. Oh my god. Let me get this out of the way, okay? A story having a good meaning or message isn't bad. There's plenty that involve showing issues such as depression or anxiety or self-hatred or anything else that hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people deal with on the daily. It's why games that touch on such in a good, generally accurate, and interactive way shows that it's okay, and that you're not alone. Those games can really work. It doesn't even have to be a game either, nor does it have to be the overall purpose of the story. It can just be a character that demonstrates this properly, or a scene after something that would rightfully leave somebody in a less than ideal state of mind. But these moments are built up. They are given plenty of time to slowly fester, allowing you to forget, let your guard down, so it all hits harder in the end. Heartbound doesn't do this. It's throwing motivational quotes on you, left and right, as if you're scrolling through like Pinterest or something and expecting it to resonate with the player on some deeper level. And it's just not. Not only is this scene that I show involving this happy moment barely, no, it's not built up at all. It's supposed to be some sort of emotional moment where you realize, oh, Lore has mommy issues, and that's also, oh my god, wait, is that a boss fight? Hold on, wait, what? Oh, just kill me. The dad was shown like twice before this, and the mom hasn't been in the picture whatsoever, and that makes this supposedly emotional boss battle feel completely empty. I felt nothing when beating this other than happiness slowly returning to me, knowing that I had finished this game and I didn't have to do this again. In fact, this game tries to do a lot of pulling at the heartstrings, as we'd say, and it does this so much to the point that it's actually just frustrating, especially since this weird disembodied voice thing keeps popping up and it's trying to shame you? Act like a nagging voice at the back of your head that keeps telling you you're not worth it or something. But it happens what feels to be every 20 minutes or so. Also, it happens every single time you talk to somebody, like literally anybody. I'm sorry I chose to be a normal person. You don't have to shame me for it. Genuinely, I don't know why this game wants me to be just such a jerk every single time I talk to anybody. Honestly, there isn't even that much more that I can say without talking about every single character or every single joke in this game individually, which, let's be honest, none of us care. None of us care about that. Congrats, you made it to the end with me. No, stop the drumroll. Overall review is just 3 out of 10, and it's only because I thought the art was decent. This game bored me beyond words. It has basically nothing to it at all, and I genuinely think that if I gave you the viewer, maybe 3 to 6 months at most, you could recreate all of this and more in RPG Maker with little to no coding involved, and I have no doubt it would be more enjoyable. As I mentioned a while ago, this is a visual novel claiming to be an RPG with mediocre and fairly unlikable characters, boring gameplay that doesn't keep the player engaged, and a strange plotline that seems to simply be all over the place, and a message that it was trying to shove down your throat every couple of minutes. I truly feel horrible for those who came into this game with expectations that they would be getting an RPG with unique combat mechanics and a story that would simply move them to tears, only to find out years later that they had been essentially scammed. At least I had an idea of what I was going into, and I knew that I was about to get scammed in the name of content, for I felt that if I were to just simply play the demo and try giving my attempt at an unbiased review, this video could have been a short, to be honest. Heartbound is simply trying to be something it's not, and it's painful to see, especially considering the amount of support this game had gotten from Pirate Software's viewers back before true colors were shown. And I mean, even Jacksepticeye played this game way back when, with him praising the game, saying that he liked it to millions of people who had seen his video. The game had gotten the golden ticket, and due to poor and slow development, it may as well have been ripped to shreds. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and may I see you in the future.